Oh man, the ratings are down. I told everybody we was gonna be alright. I told everybody the league was gonna be cool. I said we got Ant, we got Tatum, we got Jalen, we got I said it was gonna be cool, man. Now I gotta find a new sport to watch. It ain't gonna be around so much longer, man. What? through the scope, man. This is Queese, man. Appreciate everyone's been rocking with the channel, supporting, subscribing, hitting that like button. Man, it's a somber note, man. This is the NBA, man. I thought we was good, man. The ratings are down. We got to talk about it, man. We got to do a full breakdown on this, man. But we got to get into this, man. We got to talk about why the ratings are down, and we're gonna break it all. We're gonna have a full breakdown today because I see, pundits and analysts talking about it, and they're a little bit biased. If you already not been liking the way the NBA's been going, you're not going to try to see things that may be positive for the league. You're just going to look towards some of the low-hanging fruit, right? Like style of play and stuff like that, and that's going to be your only point. But there's a lot more to it for why, the NBA might be okay and why it might be, heading downward. Let's get into why we think it's heading downward, right? I got some reasons here personally that I've noticed, and it's not in order of importance, but as I think of them, I'm gonna get them through the screen here. So one of the reasons I think why the NBA is falling is they don't really got any stars like U.S. homegrown stars. They got plenty of international stars, and if y'all ever took a look into the ratings and the trends, because you got to look at it from both ways of what's going on. Ratings are up internationally. France is 177%. Europe is up. China is up. Everywhere is up except the U.S. And they got Wimby. And we can obviously point to why that probably is. France got a Wimby. Greece got a Giannis. Jokic, right? But all around representation for the international countries, they got these guys who are dominating. So for them, Canada got his own group of players. So it's like everybody has, their representation and their superstars that are carrying, the league. And the NBA is still searching for one in the U.S. We still relying on, KD, LeBron, Steph. We still relying on guys that's almost in a retirement home. And as much as we hope somebody could take the mantle, we haven't been able to find somebody like that. Because think about it, you got to be clean cut too, man. Those three guys ain't got no scandals. Two of them are married, got a loving families. They ain't got no side chick drama. They ain't got no unwanted pregnancies and abortions that they wanted somebody to get, or they ain't got no jail record. They ain't got none of that baggage that will make them, that will make somebody not want to put you in the league, right? They try to give it to Ja, or at least, seeing what happened there. They try to give it to Ant, and he got his own off-the-court stuff too as well. They try to give it to Zion, but we see him once a year. So they never try to give it to Tatum because he always been fighting for the Batman role. They've actually been trying to take it from Tatum, take his even claim from it. So when you don't have those stars in the league, you don't really have nobody tuning in. You need a face. The face brings good or bad drama to the league, but it brings engagement. Regardless if you like Bron or not, he brings engagement. It's millions of people that hate him, millions that love him. So it's going to be people that tune in to watch to see him lose. It's going to be people that tune in to watch to see him win. That does a big thing for the league, because when they match up against other stars that are trying to reach that apex, you want to watch. Another reason that nobody really talk about, we got to get to the root of what these guys are coming. I think they coming into the league with a disadvantage already. Anybody that's came up through the AAU system, if y'all seen the way the games go these guys clear out the adults, the refs, everybody clears out, and it turns into a one-on-one showcase in the middle of a basketball game that I'm hoping is highly competitive. It turns into a one-on-one showcase. I seen them do dunk contests. And it's all a spectacle. I mean, you've seen people say throughout the years, it's a cash cow, man. These dudes, these teams want to cash out on these star players that they got, get money for them, and send them off to the league. And now send them more money when the guy goes to the league. It's so unserious that these guys aren't even learning the right habits. And 1 year of college is not going to fix that. So these guys are already bad enough. They are buddy with each other because they all on the same teams. But they're already being taught that this is all just fun and games. And you can have fun on the court, but if we never get serious, is it ever fun and we never get serious? Like, it's all jokes. And they take that same type of attitude into the league. That's really where the root of the problem started at. Where you see this lackadaisical, no fundamental type of play, no structure. They ain't running plays for these guys. It's nothing, man. They ain't teach them how to play zone. These guys don't know what they doing out there. It's just all fun and games. And let's kind of, see if we can, embarrass somebody on the court. I think that's a big issue. One of the more popular ones people say is style of play. Now, for me, I've been watching basketball since the early 2000s. But I am young enough to not been watching it since the 90s. Now, I've seen enough game tape on the stars of the 90s, but I wasn't watching the 80s either. So, with that being the case, seeing all these threes, you would think I'll be a little bit receptive to it. But I was somebody that tried to teeter in. I was like, kind of be like, yo, it's not that bad. But nah, man, I watched Boston, and Boston made me say, yeah, man, it's getting out of control. And then once I started watching Boston, I seen everybody else do it. I feel like if your record ain't good, you can't be doing all this. I feel like it should be a luxury to take 30, 40 threes a game. But if you Portland or somebody like that, no, you gotta take twos. We gotta start putting some restrictions on these teams out here. If your team is ass, when it's your time, when you on your home court, we gonna push the 3-point line further back for you. That's what we gotta do. The audacity of some of these dudes that's taking these threes a game that shouldn't be is crazy. But when I watch Boston, man, you could put Chris Paul at the center position on a fast break, and it could be 5 of them running full speed at him. I take a bet that they all go to the 3-point line. Because that's normally what you see. These dudes take 40, 50 threes straight, it feel like, man. I don't think they even know what a 2-pointer is at this point. That ain't enjoying to watch. Even if they making all of them, because that's going to force the other team to do the same thing because they don't want to trade twos for threes. So now they out of their zone. Nobody want to watch that. That is not an enticing product. That ain't entertaining. That ain't nothing, man. And there's no shame to Boston because, you won a championship that way. I get it. But for the viewing eye, man, these games are hard to get through. I'm watching 48 minutes of that. So I could see style of play being an issue. It's not the only issue. It's not the biggest issue. I think people want to act like it is, but it's not. Because the Warriors games still have high ratings, and they play the exact same way. Now, you can say Steph does it so flashy, but Klay didn't do it so flashy. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just that. I do think one of the biggest issues is the injuries, though. Y'all checking the injury report these days? Zion out indefinitely. Now, that was in the drafts already. That ain't nothing shocking. Same thing with Joel. I already had that written down before I even made this video. John Morant's out, though. He's week to week. We got Minkero. He was on a fire start. He out now. We got, everybody out, man. Jimmy hurt. Now, his might be light, but still, he hurt. KD out for 2 weeks. Man, we were just talking about him being in the MVP race. Now, he out 2 weeks. Think about how many primetime games these guys are missing throughout those weeks that they out. So these games that the NBA put the broadcasting for everybody to watch. These games now don't mean nothing, and that's why you had that article come out and they talked about how opening day ratings was so low because you had the Sixers versus the Bucks, and we knew Joel and Paul George wasn't playing. Everybody should have bet the house that the Sixers was going to lose that game. That's the type of stuff that make people not want to watch because it's like, they ain't gonna be competitive. What I'm watching for? That's really the biggest issue is the injuries, because the trickle down effect. The more you see people get injured, The more they want to go hard in the regular season, now they just want to wait till the playoffs. All comes down to injuries. And the NBA tries thing with the 65-game minimum for awards. I get it. But at the end of the day, man, these guys want to win a ring. You know, and that's really what it's all going to be about. Or at least they know that's all you're going to judge them on. So they're going to try their hardest to get there. But injuries is a real big issue. That's a super big issue is injuries. Another thing, too, as well, the NBA is so unserious, man. It's literally a joke throughout the regular season. And it's a joke because it's too many games. I ain't going to say it's too many games because I don't want them to shorten the games. But it's too many meaningless games. You got to get rid of conferences at this point. And I never was on board with that, but I get it now. If y'all looked at the East standings right now, there's third place. Guess what record they got? 5-5. You know, in the West, when you can find somebody 500, they in ninth place. It is teams and players that already know they guarantee the playoff spot just off the talent of their team. You don't believe me? Look at Miami. Jimmy Butler plays like dog shit 90% of the regular season because he know the Heat going to be in the playoffs. And then he just turn up at that point. He ain't the only one that I believe thinks that way. There are players that know they're going to make it to the playoffs, and they play like dog shit in the regular season because of it. When you got guys not taking the regular season serious, not playing defense, that's a trickle-down effect. We could see it. Brian, you 40, but we could see it. We could see when you ain't playing defense, you don't care. Jimmy, we could see it when you don't care. Like, these type of things, everybody got two eyes, man. Like, it ain't, we could see visibly y'all don't care. Now, the NBA tried to do its thing with the in-season tournament. We applaud the effort, but y'all made that a joke once y'all start giving people champagne and raising banners. You instantly did something that brought excitement, turned into a joke the same year by holding it or trying to make it as close to a championship. Joke. Now this year, I guarantee it doesn't have the same excitement because you literally just made it a joke. That's really the issue, though. The regular season is so unserious. It's not really any meaningful games that it's so easy to watch game 50 instead of watching games 1 through 49. For what? I mean, wait till crunch time where guys start revving up for the playoffs. That's the NBA's real problem. These other, I think baseball go through it too. 162 games. You don't need to watch everyone. Guys that sports to have these long seasons, man, you gotta find ways to keep everybody intrigued. Gotta find a way. And I know it's tough. I ain't got all the answers, but you gotta find a way to do it, man. Now, I ain't gonna make this a whole negative episode, man. This negative video. I do think the NBA actually will be okay. Popular contrary belief for all those issues I named, I do think they'll be okay. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I think they'll be okay. I mentioned to them once, the international growth is crazy. NBA is a global powerhouse, man. Like, they have so many stars littered across the world that's going to hold up ratings and hold up the brand and hold up expansion so much with that being the case. The NBA is in good hands with how well they globalize the game. And I think as far as being a sport, I think they're ahead of the curve than any other sport outside of like soccer or something like that, or football, whatever you want to call it. I'm still talking about soccer too. I'm just the people that call it football. But that is what mainly holds them up. Also, the social engagement. We talk about NBA when it ain't even NBA season. They own the 12 months out the year. Storylines. The players have personalities. They market themselves well. The NBA owns that, man. So with that, their social engagement is through the roof. I believe they have a stronger hold on the 18 to 30-year-old demographic than any other sport. I believe it. Because their social engagement, from me seeing it and the numbers that came out, NBA is like the first YouTube channel to have like 20 million subscribers. They got, 12 billion lifetime views. Their Instagram account is better. They have individual teams that got more followers than whole sports together. Like the NBA socially, their clips go more viral than everybody else's, man. Somebody in crossed over here, somebody. The NBA does a really good job of just having that there. And that's really what the younger generation watch. That's what I feel like their biggest issue was, is they lost the global. I'll go back to some of the issues. They lost their loyal base, which is the older people. Those are the people that's going to watch the ratings. You know, they the ones that, you know, go on the League Pass, buy that. The young kids going to go on Meth Streams. They going to go on Stream East. That ain't really what they ain't going to buy a League Pass to sit down. So when you take the people that grew up on your sport and now they don't see the game that they love, even the remnants of it, because of changes that were made to the gameplay, there was no fair balance made in place, then, you know, you get that situation where the ratings are going to suffer. Now, the NBA just signed a $12 billion TV deal. Revenue's going up every year, so they might not feel the need to really change anything drastically. But the more you lose of that base there, I think it's going to be more prevalent. You're going to see it. I don't know how you're going to see it, but you're going to see it where it's going to hit something. Some pockets going to be hit. But also, I think the NBA would be cool, too, as well. Because if y'all look at some of the recent trends, because I do think, to break this down fully, you got to look back a couple of years and look present day. You can't just look at what's going on now to get your conclusions. The 2023 NBA playoff had the highest viewer average. Yes. So all that stuff y'all been saying, that base that been looking to watch the sports and that love the NBA, they're there in record numbers. They want meaningful games to watch. That's all they looking for. Give them a reason to watch, they'll watch. Also, Game 7 of the Warriors and Kings last year. That game was one of the most watched first round games in the last 21 years. 24 years. So that style of play ain't turned people off from watching it. Again, the people want to see competitive games. They want to see games that matter. They don't care how you playing, as long as you playing games that matter. That's all they want to see. And Steph was there too, so that count. But that is the stuff there that really will help the NBA there. Now, also too as well, like I said, we already talked about how globally they got everything. I do think gambling is also going to keep them afloat too as well. People love hitting their parlays, man. And the advantage NBA has is on every single night. You ain't got to wait all week like football. Every single night, you going to get people that just want to see a parlay hit. That is going to hold them afloat as well, because with the rise of that and the marketing being thrown into that, you can't turn on a commercial already. You can't turn on anything without an advertisement for that being on. That is going to help the NBA tremendously, especially with so many options they do offer for players. That's going to also help them moving forward. So they got some things that are going for them. Like, I don't think it's going to be a drastic thing where people who are on the side of, you know, they've been saying this for years about the ratings. It's not going to be no giant collapse. Like, we don't need to, you know, you don't need to go drastic there. It's not going to be a giant collapse. If you look at some of the trends of where the NBA is heading, they're in a spot here, man. The 2024 regular season is the most viewed season across social and digital platforms, surpassing 1 billion views in Europe. So they're talking about 2023, 2024. 70% of the views from the league accounts in Europe, where European players are among the 10 most viewed. So, like, come on, like, that's in France, it increased 177%. Like I said, I talked about that. So the NBA globally is going to be fine. They got some things that are going to help them and keep it up. Now, the NBA suffers from the digital revolution. You know, TV ratings are down across a lot of different things. Award shows are panicking. Their ratings are down. I think the MLB, the last year World Series, not the one that just passed, one before that was the lowest one ever. There's a lot of different industries being affected by the digital revolution. The NBA has been able to capitalize, though, off of their digital presence. So that's why I think they'll be okay leading into that situation there. But I got a question for y'all. Do y'all think ratings, TV ratings ain't gonna never not be a metric or not go anywhere, but do y'all think it's gonna be as much prevalent as it was before? Because as I stated, we're in this digital revolution, right? Like, do y'all think that's gonna be something that like they're going to use or people are going to use to judge where they stand or where the current product is? I don't think so. Like, TV is going to be less and less of a factor. And, obviously it's going to be a factor because they got these TV deals and these major networks to broadcast their games. But I think the percentage is going to get a lot closer. I should say that. Socially, I think that's going to be where it's going to be to go at the end of the year. Now, I'm not going to just, also, 2023 playoffs had the highest average viewership in 5 years. 5.12 million viewers across 3 broadcast channels. So again, people are there to watch. They just care about the playoffs. And the players feel the same damn way. So that's why they rev themselves up to that point. Now, I ain't going to give y'all just a video with just negative. Now, I'm just going to give y'all where it's just negative and positive and all that. I want to give you some solutions, right? And these solutions that I've been able to come up with, I've researched some other ones too as well. I've seen some people offer some too as well. So if y'all haven't seen them, I'm going to bring them here and see if y'all agree. But there was one person that said that the NBA should incentivize players to stay longer with their teams, right? Because even if me, like, seeing this players request out, I do support players having power, but a lot of them do take it and run with it. And I feel like certain players don't got the right or audacity to do it. Now, I know people say the rebuttal, like, yo, they could trade us any moment. But how often do that happen? How often do you see teams trading away superstar players at the drop of a dime? You don't really see that, right? You see players requesting it these days. But there got to be a way where if the longer a player stays with a team, his salary doesn't count as much against the cap. Because if I'm a player, you tell me that, I might stay so I can bring somebody else with me. So that's all I'm asking for is help. And if I'm a team, I might be incentivized to not trade the player because we keep him on the team. We could pay less in the taxes. It could just keep more familiarity, right? Like, you got these guys, these fans that buy jerseys of these players that just up and leave at the drop of a dime. Like, that ain't good for the league. The optics aren't good. The only sport that just goes around doing that. I think incentivizing them to account less against the cap is a good way to start. It won't fix unless you compete. I think it's a good way to start. NBA has tried with the Supermax, and that has helped in certain stances. The players still axe out after getting the Supermax. But that's another issue. But I think that's a good thing there. Now, I think it will be a good issue is pushing that 3-point line back. It's time. Don't introduce no 4-point line. Push the 3-point line back. You got to make it almost as close to a bad shot as possible. Because it's guys that shouldn't even be out there. Like, put a height requirement on it, man. If you over 6'9", you can't go out there. Nope. It's just a barrier. Every time you go out there, I'm going to give you a tech. Every single time you go out there, it's going to be a tech. And if you do it twice, you eject it. Certain guys just shouldn't be out there. But I think that should be like a push it back, man. It's time, man. Too many threes are being hoisted up a game. We got to find a better way to make y'all not go out there, man. It's, maybe you only can take a certain amount of half. Like, it got to be some type of way to bring that down, man, because you don't have a good product where you got guys weaving through just to get a kick out and 3. It's just not a good product when you do that. Another suggestion that I have here too as well, you got to revamp. We in this digital revolution, right? But I do think there's a way for the NBA to bring younger viewers to content they have on TV. You have NBA TV sitting right there, and you don't put any investment into it. It's right there for you. NFL Network has constantly invested in that to where people reshuffle the analysts. They'll They're adding so many different things to it to show you that they care about that product. I think the NBA could do some creative things with it there if they decided to. I remember the last time I watched that, it was when they had open court. And I thought that was a dope concept. All these older guys sitting on the couch, former players. And I thought that was a really good, guys that, all different teams that you really don't see in a room together. I thought that was premium grade A content. Maybe get a Gills Arena to be on there. Maybe get some of these platforms that have these former players or younger content creators that talk about your sport. Maybe plaster them on there. That could be a good way to get people to tune in, especially the younger demographic. Give them a deal on there. I think that would be a good way to kind of incentivize people there too as well. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out is Brian Windhorst. He made a good suggestion too. He criticized his actual colleagues. He said, media has failed in the way they have the lack of push they have been, doing to grow the game of basketball. He said they've been chasing too many clicks, headlines, and clickbaity, toxic headlines instead of focusing on storytelling, the journey the players go through, growing the game. I wholeheartedly agree with that, man. Anytime I see a star player team going to losing streak, I already know the articles that are coming out. He wants to leave. He's talking about leaving. What team should he go to? Player hasn't said a damn word. But it's so low-hanging fruit to attach that to every single superstar that they go right for it. The media has to go back into not being as toxic, man. Like, the storylines y'all create, y'all responsible for. Denouncing the player's whole career to get in the ring or not, y'all responsible for that. Making up stories and then forcing the players to answer, and then now judging their character based on how the lie that you created. These are all things that don't grow the game, don't grow the player's profile. It harms the league. I fully agree. But those are some of the ways I think if they fix all four of those things I just mentioned, I do think they'll see an increase. I do think the ratings will return a bit. Not every bit all, but I do think a good amount would. But let me know. Y'all got any some other suggestions? Am I all based here on some of the things I said was wrong or some of the things I said was right? Let me know, man. This is Through the Scope. This is Queese. Peace. Oh, one of the things I got is going for the NBA is the attendance. Now, I know we talk about the ratings, right? But if y'all check look at this this graph I put here. Attendance in the NBA is actually going up. So even though all I stated about injuries and we don't know who playing and the product, no defense, all that stuff, people are still going up to the games. The average viewership, the average attendance is going up. 10, 12 teams sold out every home game. And a bunch of other teams sold out over 90%. So people are still coming to enjoy the experience of the game. And putting butts in the seats is a big part of evaluating how your game is growing. People are still coming to these games. They're still excited to be at the games. And they're still returning to the games. So as long as you got the global aspect, you got people still showing up in record numbers and putting butts in the seat, these are things that are going to keep the league afloat. And not just afloat, but trending in the right direction. You might not be winning the TV battle, but there's a lot of people who aren't. There's a lot of industry suffering from that. But you could correct that. But if you got those other things going up for you, it's not as drastic as a fall as y'all making it. It's not. If attendance is up, social engagement is up, we just got this $12 billion, $13 billion TV deal, the NBA will be fine. Revenue is increasing, the NBA will be fine. They got to rework some things. Again, it's a joke now with the in-season tournament, stuff like that. You made that a joke, popping champagne, putting that on the same pedestal as a championship. I get it. It's a joke. Raising banners. I get it. We got to find a way to make that regular season more serious again. That's the biggest thing. But let me know if y'all agree with what I'm saying here. This is Through the Scope. This is Queese. I'm out.